If you're not an OKC fan, the first time you've probably heard of Ajay Mitchell was during the Thunder's second round series against the Lakers this year, which is when Mitchell actually looked like the Thunder's most impactful player, with him having total just 8 fewer points and just 1 fewer assist than Shai for the entire series. Then in the conference finals against San Antonio, before he was ruled out for the rest of the series because of an injury in Game 3, you've also probably been surprised to see Mitchell ranking second for the Thunder in steals per game, only behind Cason Wallace. But the thing is, you also know how the modern NBA works, and you understand how complicated roster building has become, so you're sure that while the Thunder found Ajay Mitchell, you're thinking they're not going to be able to keep him long-term given second apron and luxury tax limitations. But then you go online to check on Mitchell's contract, and you find out that he's actually signed to a 3-year deal worth just $9 million, with the last year being a team option, which keeps him with OKC potentially until the 2027 to 2028 season. Well, even before this year's playoffs began, a ton of analysts have already been comparing Mitchell with Jalen Brunson, which comps actually seem legitimate because when you look at Mitchell's numbers from last season, which was his age 23 season, and compare it with Brunson's age 24 season, which was the first time he became a 6th Man of the Year finalist back during his time with the Dallas Mavericks, you'll actually see how AJ's numbers in terms of points, assists, turnovers, and true shooting percentage all appear to be similar to that of Brunson. But now the question is, how did the Thunder not only find a diamond in the rough in Ajay Mitchell, who appears to have the makings of a future star, but also, how did the Thunder front office have the foresight to secure a long-term commitment out of Mitchell even before the rest of the NBA realized his value? And further, can OKC actually keep Mitchell past the 2028 season when the Thunder's roster starts to become even more ultra-expensive? While in college, Ajay Mitchell played for UC Santa Barbara, which wasn't really an NIL powerhouse, and while Ajay Mitchell grew into an all-Big West player there, because the Big West wasn't really the most popular conference in college basketball, Mitchell wasn't exactly high on many front offices' radars for the duration of the 2024 NBA draft process. But the OKC Thunder, having one of the best scouting departments in the NBA, have found Mitchell, which is why they landed him with a 38 overall pick in the second round of the 2024 NBA draft, and soon after, OKC signed him to a 2-way contract. Well, early in his rookie season, AJ already got some regular season playing time where he averaged just around 16 minutes per contest in 34 games, wherein he showed real promise as an immediate offensive contributor for the Thunder. But in January of 2025, AJ suffered a toe injury which required surgery, therefore stalling the momentum he built as a rookie. Still, the Thunder front office were impressed with what they saw from him in his limited time on the floor, and because of that, they converted Mitchell's 2-way deal to a standard NBA contract. Now, the thing is, typically, when a team wants to convert a 2-way contract, they can do so unilaterally by turning a player's deal into a minimum standard contract only for the rest of the year. But that's not what the Thunder did with AJ. Instead, OKC, using their cap room mid-level exception, bumped Mitchell's deal into a 2-year, $6 million contract, with the second year being a team option. And since the standard rookie minimum NBA contract was only worth a bit above $1 million per year, this contract that OKC offered Mitchell was already a pretty considerable jump, especially for a second-round pick. And because considering at that time Mitchell was also injured and was guaranteed nothing, he eagerly accepted the contract. Though after he got hurt, AJ wasn't heard from much, playing just 2 more regular season games, and even in the NBA Finals against Indiana, Coach Daigneault only played him a total of 19 minutes, most of which were also during garbage time. Nonetheless, the Thunder believed that AJ was going to become an important piece of the team moving forward, so come the 2025 offseason, instead of just picking up AJ's team option for 2025 to 2026 worth $3 million, the Thunder declined that and instead signed AJ to his current 3-year $9 million deal with a team option for the 2027 to 2028 season. Now, this is when we once again see Sam Presti's genius in terms of roster building. Well, plenty of teams, when presented with cheap team options for their players, simply pick up those options and keep their players in low cap figures. But this is something that OKC almost never does. When their players have team options, the Thunder almost always decline those options and instead send their players to restricted free agency and then re-sign them on long-term deals to keep them. In fact, the Thunder have done versions of this in the past with their recently traded players. In 2022, the Thunder declined Lu Dort's $1.9 million team option, which allowed him to enter restricted free agency, and from there, they re-signed Dort to his current 5-year $87.5 million deal with a team option for the 2026 to 2027 season, which the Thunder picked up, which obviously obviously enabled them to trade Dort this offseason. Also, in the summer of 2024, the Thunder declined team options on both Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, which technically made Joe an unrestricted free agent and which made Wiggins a restricted free agent. And the fact that OKC could have simply kept both for just about $2 million each for the 2024 to 2025 season basically incentivized both players to sign longer-term deals on team-friendly terms so that they could both get immediate raises. As a result, OKC was able to re-sign Joe to a 4-year, $48 million deal with a team option for 2027 to 2028, while Wiggins got signed to a 5-year, $45 million extension with a player option for 2028 to 2029, which reasonable long-term deals obviously made both players easily tradable this offseason. Also, just last summer, the Thunder declined Jay Will's $2.1 million team option, which made him a restricted free agent, but then they re-signed him to a $24 million deal over 3 years, which again has a team option for 2027 to 2028. Basically, this is how the Thunder approach virtually every role player contract on their books. The idea is to pay those players as early as possible, but to do so using options and restricted free agency as leverage to secure them to the longest possible deals. And if you come to think of it, it's actually a win-win for both parties. The players get paid earlier than they might on other teams, and the Thunder are also happy to pay them, because the value of these contracts usually come at the back end when these players are making less than they're actually worth during the primes of their careers, with their contracts also coming with team options, which either makes the players easier to trade or easier to renegotiate with down the line. But again, one of the keys to all of this for the Thunder has been how cheap their roster has been. To this point, OKC generally hasn't been up against the second apron yet, since they've been drafting and developing a lot of their main core players, and those players somehow turned out to be high-level contributors right from the get-go. The only problem is, things are about to change next season, as both J-Dub and Chet's rookie max extensions will be kicking in, which would take OKC's payroll from below the tax line to right below the second apron threshold. And this is how securing Ajay Mitchell to a cheap long-term deal last offseason became essential for the Thunder. Because looking at it, OKC could have just played out the 2025 to 2026 season with AJ on his team option, but obviously, the Thunder clearly envisioned a bigger role for him in the future. Well, sure, OKC probably didn't expect to see this kind of rapid emergence from AJ, as they even drafted Dillon Jones earlier than him in 2024. But then again, OKC clearly wanted Mitchell to play. And the thing is, had he played well last season in his second year, which he did, that would open up the risk of some other team offering him a sizable contract had he become a restricted free agent this summer. And if OKC decided to match that offer, that could mean plunging them much deeper into the tax and into the second apron, especially beginning next season. So obviously, getting AJ locked up to a multiple-year deal last summer was something that the Thunder front office knew they had to do. Well, sure, you might be wondering, why didn't AJ just turn down OKC's cheap offer last offseason and instead bet on himself to become a free agent this year? Meanwhile, even if the Thunder declined his team option without a new long-term extension in place, AJ could have also just demanded OKC to sign him to the 1-year $4 million qualifying offer, and in that case, the Thunder might have just picked up AJ's $3 million team option for last season. Well, if that was what happened, AJ could have just played out last season and become a restricted free agent this 2026 with a hope of getting paid bigger by another team. So maybe AJ knew that for second-round picks, especially those coming off surgeries like him, $9 million for 3 years was already a lot of money. But I think more importantly, he knew that this deal that OKC signed him to was a signal of the team's commitment to a player they drafted, as usually, if a player works with the Thunder on a multi-year extension, the team is more likely to continue investing in that player's development by giving them minutes. Plus, AJ and his agent knows that OKC has the best player development infrastructure in the entire NBA, and they also are aware that landing in the wrong team can do long-term damage for Mitchell. Well, in OKC, Mitchell didn't know how much playing time he was going to expect entering last season, and obviously, a huge reason AJ played as much as he did this past year was the injuries J-Dub had, which opened up shots and minutes that have been so beneficial for Mitchell's development. Which is why, if you come to think of it, there was a world in which AJ didn't play much this past season, which would have substantially tanked his market value had he become a free agent this summer. So obviously, AJ took a bit of financial security and sacrificed 2 years of team control, but in doing so, he assured himself placement in the NBA's best team in terms of player development, who also happens to be the then defending champions. While for sure, AJ's underpaid right now for what he brings to the table, but the Thunder have nonetheless allowed him to prove that he's capable of producing in the playoff stage. This past postseason, AJ averaged the third most minutes played for the Thunder while putting up 15 points and 4.3 assists per game, both of which rank second in the team only behind Shai. Throughout the Thunder's 2026 playoff run, AJ has mostly stepped in as a reliable substitute for the injured J-Dub, wherein he has emerged as a real 3-level scoring threat, but mainly fueled by his ability to touch the paint and to attack downhill. While AJ doesn't have crazy explosive downhill speed, but he plays with so much pace and craft, which when combined with his intricate handles, timing, and understanding of angles, has allowed him to shoot 70% at the rim during the 2026 playoffs, which ranked in the 88th percentile of all players in this year's postseason. Well, even when he didn't get all the way to the basket, Mitchell has been able to display the perfect playoff counter in the form of his mid-range pull-up jumper. With his constant ability to change directions and ability to read the floor, AJ has been able to quickly get to his spots in the middle, where he's been able to just stop and pop almost all the time. In the regular season, AJ already attempted 6 mid-range shots per game, wherein he converted 45.7% of those shots, but in this year's playoffs, he's upped the volume to 8.5 mid-range shots per game while also converting at a more efficient 57.7% clip. But his contributions don't stop on the offensive end, as AJ has also displayed chops as a reliable defender for OKC in the playoffs. As a rookie, AJ wasn't really tasked to guard players from the point of attack that much, given the Thunder's stockpile of elite defenders. But this postseason, AJ has been trusted to hound opposing teams' main ball handlers while being utilized as a point of attack disruptor more and more. And AJ's proven that he's got enough speed, hip mobility, and toughness to stay glued to his man all throughout an entire possession. Further, AJ has also shown that he's a tough screen navigator who's capable of getting skinny, who you can switch to almost anyone on the floor without giving up anything. And even at times when he appeared to get beat by a driver's initial burst, AJ was capable of recovering, using his speed and balance to regain advantage while still being able to contest shots without fouling. As AJ's 2.6 foul percentage ranked in the 94th percentile among all players in this year's postseason. At the end of the day, that entire two-way package is most likely going to make AJ more money in the long run. Speaking of which, again, if AJ plays out his existing contract with the Thunder, he will be an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2028, which is when he will only be 25. And the thing is, even if he doesn't end up as a star-level player by that time, the mere memory of Jalen Brunson's ascent after going to New York would definitely get Mitchell some massive offers from other teams. Plus, I think the fact that AJ is a bigger and better defender than Brunson would simply make him a better fit on far more rosters. And when you factor in the likelihood that he has more growing to do as a player in a couple years, the possibilities for Mitchell get even bigger. Sure, it's too early to say what's gonna happen in a couple years. Again, AJ's current deal has a team option for the 2027 to 2028 season, and if history is any indication, the Thunder will try to use that option to get AJ to agree to a new team-friendly long-term deal, which AJ potentially might not even accept, considering a lot of teams might be offering him a 9-figure deal at that point. Again, the Thunder have a number of other huge financial obligations still coming. SGA's Supermax deal kicks in by 2027 to 2028, which is also when Cason Wallace's potential extension kicks in, which is why at that time, it might also be possible that OKC might decide that Ajay Mitchell is a luxury they can no longer afford to have. And if the Thunder choose to trade AJ in the summer of 2027, they're most likely gonna get a haul for him, given how his cheap salary will make him such an easy financial fit on any roster. And once that happens, expect the rest of the NBA to try and acquire him. But what we know for sure is that right now, the Thunder have a potential future star caliber player in their hands with Ajay Mitchell, and OKC has the luxury of just playing things out organically. With AJ at a near minimum salary over the next 2 years, the Thunder can simply try to win a couple more championships with him as a key contributor, and at the end of the day, OKC will have many options on how to potentially replace AJ in the future if they would need to, and that becomes possible because of how the Thunder locked him up to one steal of a contract last offseason. Thank you guys if you've actually made it this far into the video, but do you actually still see Ajay Mitchell being a part of the Thunder's roster in a few years? Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this has been Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.